Okay folks, what's up? JP here. Today we're talking about insecurities in powerlifting. Not necessarily the sport of powerlifting, I'm talking more about insecurities within the strength game. So I guess this is applicable to anybody that's involved in any kind of strength pursuit. I guess any kind of athletic pursuit really. Insecurity can sound like a really nasty word, a real negative word, a word with lots of negative connotations. And I'm not referring to insecurity in the sense that in terms of the trait, right? I'm not saying that you are an insecure person. Rather, I'm saying that we all have insecurities. Obviously, some people are more insecure than others, and how that insecurity manifests itself within your own training and within your own mental state and your own attitudes, yada, yada, yada. Before I kind of move on to the more powerlifting side of this, I just want to quickly share with you an experience that I had at a recent personal development course. So it was a few months ago now, and I did a personal development course. So basically, it was just a day of exploring ideas about our own personal psyche and how we can develop as people and as members of society, blah, blah, blah. And we brought up insecurities. And one thing that the presenter spoke about was that compliments are just as toxic as insults. And at first that sounds super counterintuitive. I mean, seriously, how can compliments be toxic, especially as toxic as insults are? And the reason this is the case is because if we take on compliments for what they're worth, what we are simply doing is we are putting other people's opinions of us, we're giving them weight, right? We're giving them value. So what I mean is, for example, someone says to you, hey, I really like your haircut. And it gives you this warm, fuzzy feeling inside. It's like, oh, thank you. Wow, you like my haircut. That's lovely, right? But what you're doing is you're saying, I value your opinion of my hair. This could be someone you don't even know. This could be someone at a party, I don't know, a customer, whatever, right? But if you take on that compliment, what you are saying is that I value your opinion of me more than I value my own opinion of me. In the same way that if somebody gives you an insult and says, oh, I don't really like your hair, and you're like, what? Or somebody leaves a negative comment about you on social media, or somebody, you know, says something mean to you, or about you, more importantly, what you're saying is that I value your opinion more than I value my own opinion. At the end of the day, if somebody doesn't like your hair, that affects nobody. Because if you like your hair, that's all that really matters. Your own opinion of your haircut is more important than anybody else's opinion of your own haircut. So looking for validation and looking for security in other people's opinions of you is completely irrational and, I guess, mentally unhealthy. So I guess where I'm going with this is that you should, as best you can, try to avoid putting value in other people's opinions of you. That's a bit of an aside, it's a little bit random. I just wanted to share that with you because I thought that was really cool. And it does remotely tie into what I want to talk to you about in the powerlifting session of this walk and talk. Okay, so when I'm talking about insecurities in a powerlifting context or point of view, what I'm essentially talking about is how, as lifters, we put value, ooh, the lighting's not so good, in other people's, I guess not necessarily opinion, but in how we are training, how well our training is going, and we can't help but compare ourselves to other people. And I guess that's the meat and potatoes of this talk, is that putting that on a pedestal, putting yourself on a pedestal in comparison to other people is not only not healthy, but it is not conducive to any positivity, okay? And you've heard it before, right? Don't compare yourself to others. Well, firstly, that's a lot easier said than done, because comparing yourself to other people is a, consequence of the sport that we're in. If a friend of mine says to me, or someone that doesn't really know anything about powerlifting says, oh, you do powerlifting, what do you lift? And I don't know, I deadlift about 280 kilo. Oh, okay, is that good? Like, to this person who doesn't really know anything about powerlifting, there's no context there. So, of course, there needs to be a comparison point. So in some way, comparing is important, is necessary to put things into context. But what I'm getting at here is that comparing yourself to others, peers, those at the same level of you, is not healthy mentally, and is not conducive to gains. It's not conducive to happiness, and will only be a cancer in your own mental state. I'll give you an example. Say you scored 150 at a powerlifting competition, and someone from a different gym in your area, they don't really know that well, they also scored 150 in the same comp. Now, cool, we're buddies, let's hang out, whatever. And then a little while later, like, I mean, you're not super close with them, put their post on social media, and 2 months after the competition, they scored 170 kilos in the gym. And meanwhile, you also tested and your max was 155. And how do you feel? And I'm sure you'll know that feeling, right? Because it would have happened to you. You would have seen this, right? Where your peers, people at similar levels to you, similar abilities to you, are making gains and you're not. And I tell you what, it is disheartening. It really is disheartening to see other people progressing while you're not. And it's really funny because it's like, yeah, I can kind of see where that's coming from, but at the same time, like, stop for a moment and think, sorry, I just gotta try to move around, keep some lighting here, and think about how truly ridiculous that is. That other people's progress in an individual sport where they're training on their own, completely independent of you, that in some way creates validity or invalidity in your own training and results. You're training, you're working your ass off, you put 5 kilos in your squat, good. Just because somebody else put more or less or something does not affect the validity of your training, of your progress. It is, when you put it on paper and say it out loud, it sounds ridiculous, okay? Because, like, how can somebody else's lifting affect your satisfaction within your own lifting? I don't understand. So what I'm getting at here is, don't compare yourself to other people. You know, one of the big perks of powerlifting, one of the reasons a lot of people are interested in it, or a lot of the reason that people will start and then they continue once they've done a few sessions or something, is self-reward, self-satisfaction, okay? Unlike a lot of team sports, success is heavily dependent on yourself. You put the work in, you get a result. So let's keep that in the back of our mind when we do get to a more intermediate level and progress is slowing down maybe, and that just because somebody else is progressing doesn't mean your own progress, your own work is less valid. Okay, so it's really easy to say, don't compare yourself to other people, but it's actually hard to implement or apply. So what I want to do is I want to, I guess, share with you some, I don't know how to say this, maybe ideas, tips, tricks, probably not the right words, or strategies that you might be able to implement in your own, I guess, mental state that might help you to avoid comparing yourself to other people. First one is put things in, I guess, look at the bigger picture, right? The bigger picture is that, yeah, somebody else is making more gains now while you're not, but that's okay, because as we know, training is not linear, progress is not linear. You are comparing yourself across a small period most likely. You're saying, man, the last 3 months, how did that person put 30 kilos on their deadlift and I'm still stuck at the same PB or PR? Because training's not linear. You might be going through a down phase while they're going through an up phase. That's okay. So put things in the bigger picture, because your up phase is coming. Keep grinding, keep working, your up phase is coming. The bigger picture being, you know, the grand scheme of your career, the long-term picture of your career, because your powerlifting career isn't going to be a 12-month journey unless you want it to be, in which case I don't know why you're even watching my videos. The second strategy that I'm going to suggest to help you kind of avoid comparing yourself to other people is to reevaluate and reassess why you're doing what you're doing. If you've seen my coaching philosophy video, you'll know that one of the things that I spoke about in that video is that you know, there's a plethora of reasons why people start powerlifting, and if you get addicted to progress, you get addicted to results, your longevity in the sport is highly at risk. because you've got to reevaluate why you're doing what you're doing. Are you training simply for progress? Because if you are, then it's going to make it really hard to devalue your lack of progress. So reevaluate why you're lifting. You're probably mainly lifting because you like it. You like turning up to the gym. You probably like resting for 10 minutes at a time. You probably like training with your friends. There's a whole other host of reasons. And if those things are getting ticked off, if you're achieving those goals, if your technique's improving, if your efficiency is improving, if you're enjoying your training, then you're achieving your goals, right? Because those are your goals, okay? I know you've got goals like you want to squat 450 and you want to bench press 300 or whatever it might be. But as long as those goals are getting achieved, then that's okay as well, because I'm sure your goals are multifactorial. It's not as simple as squat this number, deadlift this number. So reevaluate why you're doing what you're doing, reevaluate your goals, and that's going to help you avoid comparing yourself to other people. Now, the third thing that I'm not going to suggest, well, I don't know if you could call this a third thing. One thing I do want to talk about is some people go on a social media fast. So like they go, F this, I'm deleting my social media, I'm getting rid of Instagram because I can't stand to see other people progressing so much. And I guess this isn't really addressing the root problem. This isn't really addressing your own issues. Rather, what you're simply doing is you're like masking it, you know, like it's like, I don't want to see it, I don't want to know that other people are doing so well, whatever it might be. So I guess that's where you've got to reassess, reevaluate your own headspace, and I guess go back to those 2 points. Another thing as well is that I'm no expert on this. I'm not claiming to be, I'm not a psychologist. That might be something you want to do, right? Go see a psych, go see a professional, but that's a pretty drastic route. But I mean, if this is a drastic issue for you, it might be something worthwhile. But I just want to share that idea with you. If you've got any comments, questions, thoughts below, leave them in the comment section below. I really do want to open this up to discussion because it's just an interesting topic that I've been thinking about recently, actually for quite a long time, and how, you know, seeing other people's success can put us down, and that is totally not how it should be. We should be happy for our fellow lifters, for our fellow, you know, brothers in iron, sisters in iron, because after all, despite all our differences, different countries, different federations, blah, 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 we're all united as powerlifters or as strength athletes in the same, we've all got the same goal, right? We're all united by a common objective, and that is the next PB. So when our brothers and sisters are hitting PBs, when our peers, when our opponents are hitting PBs, it's fist bump, good for you, you're killing it, keep it up, because that shit is inspiring. You should be inspired by the success of others. You know, seeing guys progress is like, man, this is possible. This is pushing the limits of what's possible in human potential, both at an elite level and an amateur level. So seeing other people's progress shouldn't put you down. If it should inspire you, make you realize, man, I'm not busting my ass hard enough, or whatever it might be. So have a think about yourself, have a think about your own headspace. Do you compare yourself to other people more than you should? Do you value other people's lifting more than your own? Do you value other people's opinion of you more than your own opinion of yourself? These are all really interesting ideas and concepts. I'm still trying to learn more about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks.